Okay, I want to talk about the book that I was reading, one of the hardest books I've ever had to read. It was How Europe Underdeveloped Africa by Walter Rodney, an incredible, incredible man. Anyway, I realized there's 4 things that Africans need to do in order for us to move forward. Number 1 is acceptance and appreciation. Accepting that, amongst our ancestors were people who sold us for whatever reason. It could be either greed, it could be fear. It's either greed or fear or whatever else. But mostly either because they were greedy, and we know that because in the Africa that we live in right now, there's greedy leaders. So our people could have sold our other people, because of greed, and also because of fear. Like, we have to appreciate our ancestors for dealing with what they dealt with, because I think seeing white people for the first time, and white people, after destroying all the shit that they destroyed in Europe, killing each other and, doing some crazy barbaric shit, came to Africa. And Africans have never seen some crazy shit like that. So number 1 is accepting that amongst our ancestors, we had some of them who were greedy. But at the same time, we had some of them who were afraid because they were seeing something that they've never seen before. They were seeing brutality that they've never seen before. And that's how we got into this predicament, the predicament of, selling our other siblings, to slavery and, raiding each other to try and sell people. Because from the Europeans, the demand was high for people as a commodity. So that's number 1, is accepting and appreciating. Accepting that we had terrible ancestors, and also appreciating the people who came before us who just didn't know, and that's how we got into the hands of colonization. Okay, I have to go back to my notes. So first is accepting and appreciating. Second is forgiveness. Forgiving our ancestors for what they didn't know. Forgiving them for not knowing what they were going to go through. Forgiving them for not knowing what the future was going to look like. Forgiving them for being human beings and for being greedy and for, all the mistakes that they've done. That's number 2. So acceptance and appreciation. Number 2 is forgiveness. We have to forgive our ancestors for what they knew, what they didn't know, because they're gone. We have to just let it go. They're in their graves. They've become compost for the ground. They are feeding this earth that we are now, laying on. So that's number 2. Number 3 is we have to educate ourselves, and we have to move forward knowing that amongst us are people who don't want the best for us. We have to move forward educated moving forward. So we have to learn our history. We have to read books that, decolonize the mind. We have to read books that tell us about who we were. It's sort of like, a reminder of who we were. And then we also, in that same line, we also have to get rid of people that are still amongst us who don't want the best for us. Like this Kenyan leaders, for example, or, the African leaders who, someone was telling me yesterday, Guinea-Bissau, I think it was Guinea-Bissau, the country that speaks Spanish, right? The only Spanish-speaking country in Africa, has had the same the same president since 1970s. 1970s, yeah. And then his son is like the vice president. So the third step is we have to get rid of these people who don't want the best for us. We have to understand that, amongst us are people who are the collaborators who put us in this predicament that we're in. Kuna watu, when the Mau Maus were fighting, there was Kenyan collaborators who were like, walikuwa wanawastaki. They were like snitching, putting our lives in danger. Those people didn't just die. They populated the earth. I think that's probably the reason why we're suffering as Kenyans, because most of us are probably the descendants of the collaborators. So in the third line is, we have to move forward with knowledge, but we also have to get rid of these people who don't want the best for us. We have to get rid of people who are only here for greed. We have to get rid of people who just want to take and not give. It's an unbalanced equation. If you just want to take, we'll have nothing because you've taken everything and you haven't given anything back. So that is the third thing. And the fourth and the final thing, okay, I had to look at my notes again. But the fourth and the final thing is we have to move forward with knowledge. We have to move forward with love and kindness and understanding. We have to move forward knowing that, there's a place for all of us. There's a place for all of us. We're all so different. We all have different skills. And we need to create a world that is, a world that, 1, accepts you for who you are, and 2, pushes you to be the best version of you. So, those are the 4 things we need to do as Africans, I think, for us to move forward and for us to heal all the trauma that we are, I think, having, or to just get through. We are like in a dark place as Africans. We're in this dark place where we cannot see, we don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we have to go through a few steps.